Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So today we're going to focus on some Sale-a-bration card ideas. So I'm going to be using the Rings of Love Designer Series paper, which is one of the many different products that you can get for free with a qualifying purchase during Sale-a-bration. So I was busy putting together just some kind of simple ideas, using up some scraps and things like that. So I'm going to share these card ideas with you today. And then I'm also going to share some additional card ideas. I participated in a swap with some other demonstrators. So I'm going to share some of the ideas from them as well. So good morning. Good morning, everyone. So these are the cards I'm going to show you how to make. And they feature the Rings of Love Sale-a-bration paper. So let me move this out of the way for a moment here. So the Rings of Love Sale-a-bration paper, this actually has all the different patterns on it. So it's kind of front and back that I have showcased here. So there's just lots of different beautiful patterns that you can use in your card making. Hi Linda, hi Sharon, Lori, Pam, hi everyone. Yes, these are beautiful. I have to admit that when I first saw them in the catalog, I wasn't like super excited about them, but then once I got a pack of the paper, I saw how beautiful these patterns are in person. So it definitely is now becoming one of my favorites. So all right, so that is what the Rings of Love paper looks like. So we're going to be using actually this pattern out of there. And I love the birds. I think the birds are my favorite. Well, maybe I love these too. I love it all. What can I say? Okay, so we're going to start out making these two cards first. And then I'm going to show you, just going to grab my stuff here. Then I'm going to show you the bird ones because I really like that bird paper, the designer paper that has the little birds on it. So it's just really pretty, and I love the cards that I got as a swap, and I love the cards that I just made. So it's a lot of fun. So let's start with this, and I'm going to move some of this out of the way. We'll start with a very simple design. So you can use this design with any paper that you have on hand. Um, so I am using, just so you're aware, I am using the Ringed with Nature stamp set. So it has a really nice happy anniversary greeting in it, which I really like. And then this particular stamp set comes with, if you want to get it as a bundle, it comes with the tree ring dies. And so I'm going to show you when we get to the bird um, cards, I'm going to show you just a couple little tips about this die set. It's just super cool. So I'll show you that in just a minute. So this is, like I said, a pretty simple card design. I thought it was a great way to show off just how beautiful that medallion is in this designer series paper. So all I did was just cut a 3 by 4 inch piece of designer paper, and then I cut a 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 inch piece of cardstock to go behind it. So you can use, any of the colors. I chose that mint macaron. I keep wanting to say macaroon, macaron, tomato, tomato. It's the light greenish minty color. Okay, so I'm just going to adhere these two pieces together. And you can make this card in either portrait style or landscape style. So I'm going to do mine in portrait style, but if you like this design better, you can do it in landscape style. And actually, maybe landscape style might not be a bad idea, considering here what I have. So let me trim this down a little bit. I'm going to trim down my greeting. So I just stamped the happy anniversary greeting on a scrap piece of white cardstock. So it's just a 1/2 inch wide. And then you can just trim down your greeting a little bit. So maybe I'll make this one in landscape style so that you guys can see the difference. So I'll do this right away. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I don't know. I think the catalog really doesn't do our paper justice, because a lot of times when you get it in person, it's like, wow, that paper is just really pretty. All right, and now we'll just add our little greeting. So this is how simple this is, and you can add as many um, embellishments or whatever you want to your card. But it's basically just a 3 by 4 inch piece of paper that's matted out. That's it. So if you have pattern paper that has big designs on it, um, that you want to showcase or whatever that you want to show off, this is a great design to do that. So that's really it. And then you can add, your pearls or embellishments or whatever you want. And then I just added a little piece of scrap paper on the inside. So this is just a 3/4 by 5.5 inch piece. And so this just went right on the inside. And then, of course, you have plenty of room for your handwritten message or if you want to stamp something on the inside. So I did the same thing over here. So that's the first one, pretty simple. So then the next one that I made is this one. I'm gonna move some stuff out of the way here. And this one uses the same paper that I just showed you. The only difference is this time I cut out the medallion. So if you don't like fussy cutting, you can ignore this card idea because I did some fussy cutting. So you basically just take one of the medallions from the paper, and I just went around and cut it out by hand. It's definitely not perfect, but nobody is going to really notice that. So the next thing I did is just cut a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white cardstock, and I just embossed it with the Paint Textures embossing folder. So that is what I'm going to put on here. So I'm just doing a little white on white in the background. And then, of course, you guys know I'm into using vellum lately. So I'm going to add just a 3 by 4 inch piece of vellum right in the center of the card. And then you just pop up your medallion. So this paper has quite a few medallions in it. So we'll put a couple dimensionals on here. And you can see the back side of this paper has the little scenery, the little house neighborhood scenery on it. So pop that up. And it fits perfect on a card. And then I have to find my little dimensionals. Here we go. Well, actually, I think I can use a bigger one. Don't mind me while I talk to myself for a second. So we'll put a little dimensional here. I think we'll put our greeting right off to the side. So I'm adding a little bit of glue to the side that isn't going to have the dimensional. And then we'll just add the greeting. And that's it. Isn't that pretty? I just love this. I just love this design. Sorry, I was reading some of your comments. Okay, and then you could just add some pearls. So why don't we go ahead and do that? See, now that I can see your comments, I don't know if that's good or bad while I'm doing this because it's easy to get myself distracted here. It's all Linda Anderson's fault. Right, Linda? All right, so we'll just add a couple pearls, and that's it. So really pretty, beautiful cards, and simple. Hopefully you guys are thinking they're simple. So those were the first two that I made with this particular paper out of the pack. So now I'm going to move on to a couple of the other patterns. So we're going to be using this kind of wood scene here and then the little birds. So I'm going to show you those cards. So let's start with this one. So before we get started with the card, what I'm actually going to do is just kind of tell you a little bit about how I created this piece. Let's see. So this is what the pieces look like. So I have kind of my little log, I guess. And what I did is in this particular set, there's this big, huge die. So I'm going to show you that. And this die coordinates with this embossing folder. So basically what you can do, and I've already done my embossing, but basically this is a hybrid embossing folder. So you can lay your die right in your embossing folder, and there's like a little space in here where it just kind of sits in a little grooved space. And then you could put your cardstock in, and you can run both of these through your embossing folder, embossing folder. You can run these through your embossing machine at the same time. So what it will do is it will cut out and emboss these little images for you. So I just embossed it just so that you guys can see what the embossing looks like. But it embosses all of these, and then this die will cut them out. Although I don't have the die on here correctly. Here we go. So when you put your cardstock and this die in this embossing folder at the same time, it'll emboss and it'll cut all of these out. But I can also just cut these out by themselves too. And the die won't damage your embossing folder because it's made to do that. So it's just like these new hybrid embossing folders are just the coolest thing. I just love the fact that it cuts and embosses. It just saves a lot of time. All right, so that's what I did is I cut and embossed some of these little images, and I thought they kind of made little cool nests for the bird. I don't know, they just kind of looked cool on the card like that. The other thing I did is there's an image in here, this image in this particular stamp set. It's called Ringed with Nature. You stamp this image on I stamped it on a scrap piece of cardstock, crumb cake cardstock, using crumb cake ink. And then you can use one of the coordinating dies in this set to cut out that image so that it fits inside your little wood piece there. So that's what I did is I stamped this on a scrap piece of paper using crumb cake ink, and I just cut it out with one of the dies so that it would fit perfectly inside of here and just kind of accent this wood piece a little bit more. So it even has little notches in here so that you can tell which piece that it goes with, because it cuts out a lot of those little log slices, I guess this is what you call them. I have such technical terms for my crafts. The log slices, those thingies. Okay, so that's what I did with this. So this is our accent piece right here. So I'm going to set that aside. And then I have my white cardstock for the base of my card. And then the pieces that I have, let's see, this is 2.5. That's 2.5 by 4.25. So that's what I have for designer paper. And then I cut a piece of Night of Navy cardstock at 3.25 by 3.75. So this is just going to go right behind. So it just kind of gives it a nice little accent, and it pulls out that blue. So I'm going to add this first. So I'll add that right to the center of this blue cardstock, the Night of Navy. So again, you guys can use these card layouts with any designer paper. I'm just giving you one of many, many different ideas that you can use this. So we'll add that to the center. And then we'll bring in our little wood slice, for lack of a better, I know somebody's going to tell me what this is. It's a wood slice to me. And then I just cut used up some of my scrap white cardstock just to add my little happy anniversary. I think this is maybe 3 inches. Yeah, this is 3 inches long. So it's a 1/2 inch wide, 3 inch long for my greeting. And then I added a little bit of, I'm going to show you guys how to do this. I added a little bit of vanilla twine behind my greeting. And so basically what I did is just cut 2 pieces. And then I take these 2 pieces of twine and I just tie them together in a bow. So you make a little bow. And then you can kind of pull your bow so that your ends here are kind of lined up with the bow. If I don't know how to explain it. How do I want to explain it? I'm going to pull these pieces out here. So you just want to shorten your ends a little bit so they're not super long. I know you guys know I love my long-tailed bows, but you don't want them super long. And then you just kind of offset the you offset these little bow pieces because you have 2 pieces here. So you don't want them the exact same size. So you just kind of pull on the string to offset them a little bit. And then you can trim down your pieces so they're not overhanging so that they're the same size as your bows, same length. So you kind of have something that looks like this. And then you can take that and you can use that on your card. I'll show you. So let me adhere this little guy. So I'm going to adhere this off to the side here. Let's come down a little bit. And what I did with this, so by tying a little bow, I get loops and, excess twine above and below my greeting. So what I can do is I can just use a little glue dot to adhere that. So I've just kind of found that this is a little bit easier than trying to, tape this behind the greeting. I can just make a little bow, kind of fluff out the bows and the ends, and then add it to my design. I hope that made sense. And then I'm going to add my dimensionals. So I only need 2. So I need 1 on each side. So I have a dimensional on each side. Hopefully I left myself enough room here. And then you just run this across the entire piece. And that's it. And so you will get a little bit of a bump here just because of this embossed piece, but it just turns out really pretty. And it's a great way to show off the designer paper. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think, whoops, I forgot to grab this. Initially, when I saw this stamp set too, I was like, how do you use these little logs in your card making? So it just kind of takes a little bit of playing around with, but then once you see something, as you're kind of playing around, once I see something, then I can't stop making it. So a tree slice or a disc showing the annual growth rings. Okay, thanks, Kathy. Tree slice, wood slice, a log, or a bird's nest. Looks pretty cool. Okay, so that's what that one looks like. I'm trying to see why my light is not shining very well. Okay, so that is the next one, or the third one. So let me show you this last one. This last one I decided to kind of stick with the birds because I really like the bird design. And oh, I forgot to show you guys. Where did it go? I forgot to show you on the inside of that card. I just used up some designer paper and a little piece. I put in a little 1/8 inch strip of Night of Navy cardstock on the inside of this card. So that's what the inside looks like. Okay, sorry, I digress. Here we go. So for this one, I started with a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white cardstock. And then I was just kind of using up some of my scraps here. So the bird pieces are 2 by 3 3/4 inches. So these are 2 inches wide and one, what did I say? Two, 1 3/4 inches. So let me start that again. 2 inches long, one and three, 1 3/4 inches wide. Whew, it's hard to say that. And then I have another little like scrap piece, which is 1 1/4 inches wide and it's 2 inches long. And then I just kind of put that in the center. So this is just a little scrap piece of that bird paper. I just flipped it around. And I thought that made just a really cool design. So then I had to have something, of course, on this side. So on the opposite side, I just cut a 1 3/4 by 5 inch piece of this wooded designer series paper. And so that's how I came up with my design. Um, it was more just, I was trying to figure out a way to use up those scraps because I can't waste any scraps, especially with the birds on it because they're just really pretty. So that's how I came up with this design. I just kind of laid out my scraps and thought, oh, that looks pretty cool. And then I went to work trying to figure out what else to put on the other side. So you can use this kind of scrappy card layout with any of your scraps too. So, take out your scraps and just create this fun little design and uh, and then decorate it with whatever you have on hand. All right, so we'll put this on there and then we'll adhere this little piece in the center. And then this all will get adhered to a piece of Night of Navy cardstock. And put this in here. So that is the background. Isn't that just pretty? And you don't have to do much to decorate this. Just a little greeting right here would be fine. But I had to use my little tree slices, my little half logs here. So I'm going to add this to the card. So I kind of added this off to the side. And then I used the same process for creating my little, kind of putting these little pieces on here, this little twine design. Let's see, put it on here so it lays right. And I'm going to add just adding a little glue dot right on the card. And then you take the knot from the twine and just stick that knot right on the glue dot. Oh, I'm rhyming today, not on the dot. And then we'll add our greeting. That's it. So again, this is just a 1/2 inch wide by I think it's about 3 inches, maybe 2.5 inches. So we'll add this right on here. All right, and then we can add a couple pearls. So I'll do that right away. I just added some pearls right off to the side. And you have a quick and simple card. All right, so that is the fourth card. Hey. Okay, so then let me bring these back. So here are the two bird cards. I see we have a spammer spamming us, so I'll have to take care of that when I get off of here. So these are the two bird cards, and then these are the two medallion cards. So those are just 4 cards that that you can create using this pack of paper. I have a variety of different card ideas that I'm going to share with you um, coming up on Wednesday. I have a few more, some that do a little bit of watercoloring and things like that. So I'll share those with you on Wednesday and get that video out for you. But then I wanted to show you just a couple other card ideas. So, like I said, I participated in a swap with some other demonstrators. So this was one of the cards I received, and this was created by Carrie Todd. So it's just beautiful. Just a very simple card design, a little bit of embossing in the background. Got a little 2 by 2 inch square here. And then you have your designer paper over here. So it's just really just a fun way to accent those birds, because I'm telling you that bird paper is just beautiful. And then let me see who this is. Lynn Feldkamp. This was her design. So she used a variety of different shapes from the Stylish Shapes dies to create, the background, and then she used one of the circle shapes there to kind of accent the birds. So these cards are just really beautiful, and I don't know, it's just a really nice paper pack. So if you haven't seen this paper pack, you definitely want to get your hands on it. So if you need to learn more about Sale-a-bration, I put a link in the description with this video. Otherwise, you can ask me, you can make some comments, ask me any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. So I think that I'm just looking, I think that was all I had for you guys today. So I will get these out on the blog later today, and then I'll have more fun cards to share with you next week. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday, and a fabulous week. And I will see you guys again next week. So take care, everybody. Thanks for joining me.